It's amazing how desire overrides everything else.
We have a large teaching ministry that goes around the world by television and radio. We have large outreaches around the world to the poor and the needy, in living rooms across the world. Millions came to know her voice. Joyce Meyer, the straight-talking preacher who turned biblical wisdom into practical life lessons. Her message reached from suburban America to the farthest corners of Africa, building an empire that seemed unshakable. But something changed. The ministry that once filled stadiums began canceling events. The private jet stayed grounded. He used that fear to control me, and it was so hard to break free of that. The daily broadcasts started showing more reruns than new content. The woman who helped so many find their strength seemed to be losing hers. What could make one of Christianity's most powerful voices choose silence for anyone who's followed Christian television over the past 3 decades? Joyce Meyer has been as constant as sunrise. Her straight-talking noon's approach to faith has helped millions navigate their daily struggles, turning her from a local St. Louis preacher into a global phenomenon. With her signature short cropped hair and Missouri twang, Meyer built an empire that spans more than 100 countries, reaching viewers through her daily program, enjoying everyday life and selling more than 20 million books. But something changed in recent years. The ministry that once maintained a relentless schedule of more than 300 yearly speaking engagements began showing signs of strain. Eagle-eyed followers noticed Meyer's television appearances becoming less frequent, with more reruns filling the regular broadcast slots. Her once packed event calendar started showing conspicuous gaps in her signature conferences, which routinely drew crowds of 15,000 or more, began scaling down dramatically. By early 2020, whispers of change echoed through the halls of Joyce Meyer Ministries' sprawling St. Louis headquarters. Staff members noticed subtle shifts in day-to-day operations. The ministry's private jet, once a symbol of its global reach, spent more time grounded international speaking tours previously scheduled years in advance remained tentatively marked as pending. The organization's social media presence, while still active, shifted away from live events toward pre-recorded content and inspirational quotes. The strain became visible in other ways too. Meyer's broadcasting pattern changed noticeably on major networks. Her daily program, enjoying everyday life, began featuring more archived teachings carefully selected from her vast library of previous recordings. While her message remained powerful, viewers couldn't help but notice the reduced frequency of new content. The ministry's quarterly reports showed a strategic downsizing of certain operations, with some international offices being consolidated or closed entirely. Perhaps most telling were the changes in leadership structure. Long-time staff members found themselves taking on expanded roles, particularly in public facing positions. Meyer's son Daniel, who had been gradually assuming more organizational responsibilities, stepped further into the spotlight. The ministry's board of directors underwent significant restructuring, with new members being brought in to oversee what they called a transition phase. Health also seemed to play a role in these changes, though Meyer had always been remarkably energetic for her age, maintaining a schedule that would exhaust someone half her year's recent appearances showed signs of fatigue. Her trademark vigor, while still present, appeared somewhat dimmed. Speaking engagements, when they did occur, were shorter, more focused, and required longer recovery periods between events. These changes didn't go unnoticed by the ministry's loyal following foundations. Back in 1985, when Meyer first expanded beyond her local St. Louis congregation, few could have predicted the avalanche of responsibilities that would follow. The ministry's rapid growth brought unprecedented challenges, ones that would shape its future in ways nobody Anticipated. Consider the sheer scale. By 2007, the ministry's annual budget had swelled to $90 million, catching the attention of Senate investigators. The subsequent 4-year congressional investigation into ministry finances marked a turning point. While Meyer's organization emerged largely unscathed, maintaining full membership in the Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability, the scrutiny took its toll. Every financial decision faced increased public examination. The ministry's critics questioned everything from Meyer's $43,000 conference table to the $10 million corporate jet, leading to intense media coverage that lasted for months. But financial pressures were just the tip of the iceberg. Managing a staff that grew to nearly 1,000 employees across 38 countries created its own set of challenges. The ministry's insurance costs alone reached astronomical figures, with annual premiums exceeding $2 million each. International office required careful oversight, cultural navigation, and constant attention to changing global regulations. Even seemingly simple decisions like shipping books to remote locations or coordinating simultaneous translations for broadcasts involved intricate logistics that few viewers ever considered. The complexity of managing inventory across 6 continents meant that even minor mistakes could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The burden of the empire grew heavier in 2011 when tragedy struck at the heart of the ministry. A wrongful death lawsuit emerged following the shocking murder of Shir Coleman and her 2 sons by Christopher Coleman, Meyer's chief of security. The murders sent shock waves through the organization, not just for their brutality but for how they exposed the vulnerable underbelly of ministry operations. While Meyer provided testimony during the trial, the incident raised serious questions about employee screening and counseling practices within large ministries. Though the subsequent wrongful death lawsuit against Joyce Meyer Ministries was dismissed in 2013, the emotional toll on the organization lingered. Staff members who had once felt like family now faced enhanced background check, and the sense of trust that had defined the ministry's culture was forever altered. Family dynamics also added another layer of complexity. Unlike many ministries that struggle with succession planning, Meyer integrated her family into the organization structure early on. Her husband Dave served as business manager, while their 4 children found various roles within the ministry. But this integration came with its own pressures. Every family decision carried professional weight, and every professional choice affected family relationships. Holiday gatherings doubled as informal board meetings, and family celebrations often competed with ministry deadlines. The pressure to maintain both professional excellence and family harmony created unique stresses that few outside the organization could understand. Have you ever wondered how a ministry adapts when even Christmas dinner becomes a board meeting? The answer would emerge in ways that nobody expected. Talk. Even Meyer's trademark teaching style evolved, adapting to platforms where the average viewing time was less than 3 minutes. This shift required a complete reimagining of how to deliver spiritual content effectively in an age of diminishing attention spans. The ministry's withdrawal from certain traditional operations wasn't just about scaling back, it represented a fundamental shift in philosophy. Large conference centers, once the cornerstone of their outreach strategy, were repurposed into community resource centers. International offices transformed into digital hubs, focusing less on physical presence and more on virtual impact. The ministry's print magazine, which had reached 2 million subscribers at its peak, transitioned to a primarily digital format, saving over $1 million annually in printing and shipping costs while reaching an even Larger audience, these changes reflect a deeper understanding of modern ministry needs, but they also raise intriguing questions about the future of religious organizations in our increasingly digital world. What does effective ministry look like in an age where attention spans grow shorter but the hunger for meaningful connection grows stronger? For Joyce Meyer Ministries, this evolution represents not just a response to changing times but a complete reimagining of their mission and methods. Looking at these sweeping changes, one can't help but wonder what personal toll did this massive transformation take on Joyce Meyer herself. How does someone navigate such fundamental shifts while maintaining their core message and personal well-being? Personal battles behind the pulpit. For those who have ever stepped onto a stage or stood before a crowd, you know that moment when the spotlight feels more like a burden than a blessing. For Joyce Meyer, these moments began multiplying as her ministry entered its most challenging phase. While the world saw a confident leader addressing thousands behind the scenes, a more complex story was unfolding. The first signs of personal strain emerged during what should have been a triumphant moment. After delivering a powerful message to a crowd of 23,000 in Mumbai, India, Meyer retreated to her hotel room and experienced what she later described as a complete physical and emotional breakdown. The incident, previously undisclosed to the public, marked the beginning of a series of health challenges that would reshape her ministry approach. Medical records from 2018 revealed a pattern that her inner circle had desperately tried to manage. Meyer's punishing schedule had led to severe sleep deprivation, with some weeks showing she averaged just 4 hours of rest per night. Her personal physician had issued multiple warnings about her cortisol levels, which had reached alarming heights due to chronic stress. Even more concerning were the episodes of temporary memory loss that she experienced during several major speaking vulnerability and rest. She wrote about crying in her car between speaking sessions and feeling increasingly disconnected from the very message of healing she preached to others. Adding to these personal battles was the complex dynamic of being both a global ministry leader and a grandmother to 12 grandchildren. Her family life, once a source of pure joy, became complicated by the constant pressure to model perfect Christian leadership. Holiday gatherings turned into impromptu strategy sessions, and family photos required careful consideration of public image implications. The struggle to be present for crucial family moments while maintaining ministry commitments created a tension that seemed impossible to resolve. Technology, ironically, intensified these personal challenges. The rise of social media meant that every public appearance, every facial expression, and every word choice faced instant analysis from millions of followers. When Meyer developed a slight tremor in her right hand during 2019, online speculation about her health spread rapidly, forcing her team to address rumors while she privately sought medical treatment. The pressure to maintain a perfect image in an increasingly connected world added another layer of stress to her already overwhelming schedule. The physical manifestations of these pressures became impossible to ignore during a series of in 2020, Meyer experienced 3 separate episodes of what her medical team described as stress-induced vertigo. The incident, carefully kept from public knowledge, forced her to grip the podium tightly while delivering messages. Her characteristic energetic movement across the stage, so typical of the 2000s, gave way to more stationary presentations, though few in the audience understood the real reason behind this change. Perhaps most challenging was the internal spiritual wrestling that few knew about. In private counseling sessions with her longtime spiritual advisor, Meyer grappled with questions that would shock many of her followers. How could she maintain authenticity while meeting the expectations of millions. When does ministry become so large that it threatens personal faith? These sessions, documented in confidential ministry records, reveal a leader struggling to reconcile her public role with her private spiritual journey. Yet through all these challenges, Meyer maintained a level of resilience that puzzled even her closest advisors. How did she continue functioning under such immense pressure? The answer might lie in a series of private decisions she made away from the public eye, choices that would ultimately lead to one of the most surprising transitions in modern ministry history. As we've seen Joyce Meyer navigate through storms of organizational pressure and personal battles, the path that lay ahead would prove to be her most intriguing chapter yet. While many religious leaders simply fade into retirement, Meyer's approach to her ministry's future charted a course that left observers both fascinated and perplexed. The transformation began with a series of carefully orchestrated strategic moves. According to insiders, in late 2021, Meyer's team initiated what they called Project Legacy, a comprehensive 15-year transition plan that few outside the organization's inner circle knew existed. The blueprint, spanning more than 300 pages, detailed a vision for ministry sustainability that challenged conventional wisdom about religious organization succession. Unlike her contemporaries who chose to simply hand over their ministries to their children, Meyer developed a unique hybrid model. The plan divided the ministry's sophistication. The ministry developed predictive analytics tools that could anticipate community needs before they became crises. Their humanitarian response teams used these insights to position resources strategically, often arriving in communities days before natural disasters or economic downturns created urgent needs. Meyer's personal involvement in this transition phase proved equal fascinating. Rather than simply stepping back, she began mentoring a diverse group of 30 emerging leaders, spending hundreds of hours sharing not just her successes, but her failures, regrets. These intimate mentoring sessions, recorded for future leadership development, revealed a side of Meyer that the public had never seen: vulnerable, reflective, and brutally honest about the cost of global ministry. The ministry's approach to mental health support evolved significantly, recognizing that to that public ministry takes on leaders. They established the Shepherd's Rest program, a comprehensive support system for religious leaders facing burnout. This initiative, funded through a $25 million endowment, provided confidential counseling, retreat facilities, and professional development resources to ministers across denominational lines. Research became a key focus during this transition. The ministry established the Faith Impact Research Center, dedicated to studying the long-term effects of religious leadership on personal well-being. This groundbreaking initiative partnered with leading universities to conduct longitudinal studies on everything from leader longevity to family system health and ministry contexts. As these sweeping changes took shape, observers noted something remarkable. Meyer appeared more energized and focused than she had in years. The woman who had carried the weight of a global ministry for decades seemed to have found a new sense of purpose in preparing the next generation for their own unique challenges. Today, we've uncovered the real story, from congressional investigations and family tensions to those troubling medical reports that nobody knew about. It wasn't just about an empire changing, it was about a leader recognizing when to let go. What do you think finally pushed Joyce Meyer to make these dramatic changes? Was it the health scares, the family pressure, or something we still don't know about? Share your theories in the comments, and if you're fascinated by other untold stories, hit that subscribe button and make sure to like the video. We'll see you in the next